It's always great to see you again. Thanks so much for staying with us on Astro Awani. My name is Syed Fardino Omar and you are with me in the first segment of In Realty. Now today we're going to talk about trends. We love to talk about trends in this program and also in Astro Awani because we want to try and stay ahead of the trend. So to stay ahead we have to understand. So the trend that we're talking about today is the property market. What's in, what's out, and how do we make our next consideration? What's going on right now? So to help me answer these questions, we have with us the CEO of F3 Capital's Rimba Hills, Vignesh Naidu. Vignesh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Okay, big question first. What's the trend now then?
Well, the trend on the property market, increasing trend. Buyers are looking at buying more properties now, specialized. They're looking at properties that actually give them a lot of capital growth, capital appreciation, better living standards, better quality housing, and also a little bit on affordable price. So they're looking at a combination of getting the best at the same time at affordable prices. I think that's the trend.
Now the whatever that you've just said, better living standards, better homes, those are given. Who wants to buy a home that's not great, right? But it's the affordable price bit that piqued my interest here because my hypothesis is that the concept of affordable homes here in Kuala Lumpur is a myth. You know, I mean, okay, fine, I'm being extremist here, but you know, what's your comment on that?
I think if you look at Kuala Lumpur itself, price has always been increasing. I mean, if you look from the trends of 1970s to year 2000, 2005, there was a major shift in property prices in the Klang Valley, especially KL. I think the trend will always be increasing because people always speculate in this market. There's always, you know, increments of salaries and better benefits. So people always will buy properties and there's always this demand that will actually push the prices up and given scarcity of land. So affordability again depends on how it's defined. Because in the early days, affordability is defined as housing below 200, 250,000 range. But today, affordability, the terms of margin, the range has actually increased. You're looking at up to even $500,000 is considered affordable housing already, depending on whether it's apartment types or is it housing, as in terrace houses or cluster housing. So it's a different market, but KL itself, you can't, you know, have all this kind of housing. You can't have terrace housing, cluster housing in the city center. So you got to look at the suburban areas or the greater KL area, which actually now begin to cater for more affordable housing. That's the trend that we see now.
Okay, so that's developers. Yeah? So what we're saying is that developers, for developers, they are developing affordable homes up to ringgit outside KL, city center. So in the middle of KL, anything below $500,000, dream on.
Dream on, absolutely,
Okay.
No doubt about that.
So what about for buyers then? Demand, I'm sure some people are still, you know, has indicated that, you know, affordable homes within KL city center itself is also a necessity, no?
I share that view. I think the government is really looking at Prima One Housing. They are looking at urban renewal projects. I think there's upcoming projects in Bandar Tun Razak or Kerinci or Sanpeng area which will cater for the needs of the affordable housing. I think the government initiative, we have to applaud them for actually doing that. But having said that, the demand of course exceeds supply that's going to come on stream. So the better way to address it is to ensure that the buyers actually move out of KL and look at more housing needs or housing availability in the suburbs area, but the most important thing is to actually have the connectivity and the infrastructure to support that. So even if they're staying half an hour away, but they actually can connect back to their workplace in the city center. So I think that's where the trend is moving. I think house buyers are beginning to feel that. And the government's initiative, for instance, RRI land in Sungai Buloh, I think is going to cater for community living. And I think increasingly of such make will actually start to happen in the suburbs and then connected by the MRT and the LRT extension projects and a bus system that's coming on stream. So I think we are addressing that. I think the buyers got to have that mind shift to actually look at housing within the greater KL area or the suburban area, which is developing pretty fast. In fact, if you look at a workplace today, workplace is not necessarily in the city center. In fact, if you look at all the local councils under greater KL, they're actually encouraging office developments in the suburban areas, which then can support the housing needs and in terms of people, workforce, you know, coming from neighboring areas itself rather than everybody working in the city center.
So basically we have satellite markets, like what Subang Jaya was to Kuala Lumpur back in the day, yeah?
Exactly,
okay.
Exactly.
But since we're talking about trends here, I understand the need to actually have these satellite markets, and you rightly put that what needs to be done is the connectivity, the linkage between the mother town and also the little baby towns.
Yes, that's right.
Now we're talking about MRTs, we're talking about trains, public transportation, and also roads. How are we doing in that front right now?
If you look at the MRT, I think by the time that this whole plan was put in place, within 2 years, you're actually looking at contracts being awarded and work has actually started in both sides of the stations, including Sungai Buloh, which will be the main station, and then leading up to Dataran Perdana and into Kajang. So with that speed of how things are moving, and I think in the next 3 to 5 years, these trains will be up and running. And these developments are actually catering to the house buyers, where you're having affordable housing in Sungai Buloh, Kota Damansara, Subang 2 area, which actually falls right into place. By the time these houses are completed, the MRT networks will start to be in place. So it actually kind of fits in pretty well. Same thing with the Southern Corridor. The Southern Corridor, you have all the new network highways, outer ring roads, and SKB now is open. So again, the Southern Corridor is also catering for affordable housing as well. So I think if you look at KL, you have the Northern Corridor, the Southern Corridor, East and West. So each of the corridors are actually being developed for affordable housing, not only by developers, by state government or federal government agencies. So they are addressing the needs, but I think with the buyer and the buyer profile and the buyers are pushing for this agenda, it actually gives government the push to actually hasten the infrastructure growth. I think which is what's happening, right? Because there's a lot of report the media is carrying like bus needs. So you need to have the bus, feeder bus from the MRT to the housing area. So with that push coming, and I think the buyers are really engaging with the local council, with the federal government through the press, media, and many other forms, and the blogs and the forums. So I think with that push, I think government's addressing the issue. So I guess it would be better if the government should do it faster,
Right.
I mean, the LRT extension is in full swing. I mean, it's very encouraging that it connects to all the missing links that was not there. So it should continue, to continue to have that trend.
So we're also saying that the concept, or rather the idea of finding affordable home 10 minutes away from your office in the middle of KL is something that is already passé. People should, within their minds, start looking at other greater opportunities. Yeah,
that's right. Absolutely.
Okay. Now coming back to developers, if we flip through any Sunday daily, that's when we normally have the new projects new developments. And, if you look at the fine print down there, nothing, I can promise you, nothing I've seen over the last couple of weeks goes below the 1 million mark. So for developers, the fun is in making high-end properties. Is that true?
Yeah, because I think this perception, right, that high-end properties are easier to sell.
Is it?
Easier to sell. For some reason, people feel it's easier to sell high-end properties than to sell mass housing. I think the fact remains so as well. I mean, I did a project in KLCC many years ago. It is easier to sell a high-end property, but there's a lot of engagement. It's very personalized selling compared to selling affordable housing. But affordable housing itself, I think there is a way to actually sell because it's very price sensitive, location sensitive. But I think the trend has changed compared to a few years ago and today. If you look at government, what they're trying to do with the banking and financial institutions, they're actually encouraging affordable housing. Margins of finance has increased, low interest rate policies. They're trying to curb inflation, which is actually trying to reduce the number of houses you can buy, residential, by saying you can get 90% loan for only first 2 properties. So third property is 70%. So with all these regulations in place, then you see that people of that segment of market, middle income market, they can actually afford to buy houses because the margin of financing is attractive. So this is the way the market is actually moving towards what we see happening in the Greater KL area.
Okay, so we have only about 20 seconds left. In gist, so we are not saying that properties are crazily exorbitant and it's completely unaffordable. It's just the secret is in finding where to look for your properties.
Exactly. I would agree with that, and I think that KL prices will continue to go up. So you've got to capture the market outside KL. The buyers got to see where are the new growth areas, where are the infrastructure growth that's coming, and then you start buying properties in these areas so you get connectivity to the city center where you could actually work. So you have a community center that you can live and work and have families, schools, and all the infrastructure support. At the same time, you can connect to the city center,
Right.
which is maybe 30 minutes or 45 minutes away. So that's the living, KL living standards. I guess it's not going to change
Okay,
much.
so that's going to be my checklist. Thank you so much for those pointers. It's
Yes,
great
thank you.
having you on the show. Well,
Yes,
that's
thank
it
you
from
very
me in the
much.
first segment, as usual. In the second and third segment, you'll be with Lina. So you can go with her. I'm going to continue chatting to Vinesh here in this beautiful and newly refurbished 21 BSC right here in Bangsar. So stay with us on In Realty.
Jumaat,
Imam muda yang layak ke malam kemuncak ialah
detik penentuan telah pun tiba.
bersedia dengan kejutan.
Mereka akan bersaing buat kali terakhirnya.
Jalankan gotong royong bersama-sama untuk bertemu dengan masyarakat ini. Mereka sudah terbiasa dengan budaya mereka.
Kemuncak Imam Muda musim terbaru. Tayangan serentak di Astro Oasis dan Astro Mustika HD.
Imam Muda dibawakan khas kepada anda oleh Bank Islam Perintis Perubahan.
Tajaan bersama Awani.
Terasa aslinya dan tidak hanya Awani.
Bermula 31 Julai, Ramadan ini, Astro Awani membawakan diskusi istimewa 30 minit bersama Tareq Ramadan. Mendekati dan mengupas isu-isu demokrasi serta liberalisasi di kalangan umat Islam seluruh dunia.
Of course, theologically speaking, Islam has the upper hand.
Setiap Selasa 10 malam bermula dari 31 Julai hingga 14 Ogos. Hanya di Astro Awani, berita segenap dimensi.
Hi, thanks for tuning in. We're back on In Realty. Right now, I'm in Rimba Hills, another new and exciting development from Sunway. And as always, when we talk about Sunway's development, we can always welcome Mr. Ho Han Sang. Thank you so much, Mr. Ho, for making the time. Always a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you, Alina, for visiting us again.
Okay, so this is a totally different ambience altogether from our last interview. The last time we were talking about Velocity, but now it's Sunway Rimba Hills. And I really can't imagine what it's going to look like actually when I first saw what Rimba Hills is all about until I stepped my feet here. It's amazing. It's like a affluent area, amidst the urban city, because obviously it's right smack in Sunway Damansara. So tell us more about this exciting new development.
Okay, Lina, it is indeed very, very exciting. Sunway Rimba Hills, and of course the excitement for Sunway Damansara development, we keep it to the last. This is the last piece of residential development for Sunway Damansara, which we started in the year 1996,
Okay.
so almost 16 years ago. What you say just now really fit this statement, because as you see here, really nature plays a very important part in this development.
And hence the name Rimba and Hills,
Yes.
right? So talk to us about what it comprises of, this development.
Okay, Sunway Rimba Hills is located on a piece of land about 20 acres, to be exact 19.72 acres. There are 80 units of bungalows within this development. It is a gated and guarded community, a stratified development, and within this development, the density is only 4 units an acre, so very, very low density. And among this 20 acres of land, 6.5 acres of land which was and is continue to be green natural reserve, whereby we do not develop but preserve the natural aspect of it. So altogether, they are 60% green in this development compared to the normal authority requirement of about 10%.
That would be quite a challenge to make it possible, 60% of green over right smack in the city. So would you consider that as the biggest challenge overall for this development?
We want to bring value, a lot of value to the customers. So to have 60% green, that means we must have a large green reserve, which in this case is a natural forest park. We call it 6.5 acres. So 6.5 acres out of 20 acres is already 30%. Then because it's low density, then in between the units, there are many spots of green area. So with that, we are able to achieve this amount of green percentage, which is about 60% of the total area. So naturally, the thinking process flows on, and we come up with this idea, hey, why not we do something that resemble living in a hill environment, in a Rimba environment, and hence the idea was born.
All right. So when we talk about the concept, I can see that Rimba Hills, it's a little bit different from the rest of Sunway's development in terms of residential. It's a 3-story house, but then I don't feel that I need to have a lot of effort to go up to the top floor. So talk to us about the architectural concept of Rimba Hills.
The design is such that it is, it's a bungalow development, and this bungalow development we have 3-story, and many of these units is like a proper, very easy access to the green park, assimilating into the environment. So basically that is the architectural design. Now, in a very traditional way, talk about the architecture of the building. Simple architecture, not sophisticated at all. Some of them will live, the bigger units will live, and some of the design, you enter through the center. Center means you go 1 floor up, 1 floor down, easy. But it's nothing difficult because nowadays there are many 2.5-story link houses around, so it's basically just 2 times you walk up the stairway. Now, apart from that, the architecture also emphasizes on a nice clubhouse. Now, if you visit the clubhouse, you will find that it's a very environmentally friendly clubhouse. With apart from the normal facilities of gym these
your typical
children's
facilities that you can get,
that, you will notice that we have a nice swimming pool. The swimming pool is built towards the natural forest park. So while you are swimming, you can see on one side the development itself, the buildings, and at the back you could see a forest. So it's very interesting. Now, environment also include renewable energy. Now, this building we have installed some photovoltaic cell, PV solar cell. It generate power from sunlight. We managed to get into the FIT, Fit-in Tariff scheme, initiated by the government, and whatever power produced by this photovoltaic cell can be sold back to Tenaga Nasional. In the future, a month we are going to get revenue about probably 1,000 to 2,000 ringgit. TNB is going to pay us back, because we feed power back to the national grid. So this makes the place very unique, outstanding, which I think no other clubhouse has had it before. Apart from that, if you see, when the time is right, you will see a lot of vertical planting. We have planted some vertical landscape at the facade of the building, and very soon you'll see beautiful green building in the clubhouse. So these are some of the, I would say, architecture, not only the building, the bungalow itself, the forest, and also the clubhouse.
And obviously you are targeting the affluent to come in?
Well, yes, certainly it's affluent, but the way we price it, I think many people also can afford it. The cost is only about 4 million plus. Compared to properties abroad, I think we are very, very cheap. And just compare nowadays Link House, even Link House can go up to probably 1.5 million. A small Link House nowadays. So with this bungalow at this pricing, I believe it can be accessible by a large number of customers.
So for how's the sales have been?
Oh yes, the sales is good. We have achieved almost 70%.
Wow.
70% of the units taken up already. We continue to sell as we now progress to finish the project. And delivery of vacant possession is expected to be sometime this year, and it's well ahead of time. We only need to deliver to our purchasers sometime after the mid next year, but we are going to deliver ahead of time.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ho, for your time. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for this segment. I would love to sit down more and talk about this wonderful development. Well, there you go. Rimba Hills is a place to be if you are looking for that posh, affluent, green concept over in the city. So with that, I see you again on the next segment.
Isnin hingga Jumaat.
Selamat datang ke Nadi Arena.
Selamat datang ke Nadi Arena, Nadi Sukan Malaysia.
Nadi Arena bersiaran di Astro Awani. Membawakan aksi-aksi sukan tempatan dan antarabangsa terus ke kaca televisyen anda. Nadi Arena, setiap Isnin hingga Jumaat bersiaran di Astro Awani, berita segenap dimensi.
Cinta, ada pun sukar untuk dimengertikan, bukan sekadar lafaz.
Tak habis-habis dengan Han. Sebut lagi nama dia lagi.
Belajar menerima apa yang ada di depan kita sebelum terlambat.
Aku, Kau dan Dia untuk menempah filem terkini saluran 480.
Astro Awani presents CNBC's Managing Asia.
Welcome to Managing Asia. I'm Christine Tan.
Join Christine Tan as she gets up close and personal with Asia Pacific's CEOs, entrepreneurs, and other business leaders.
We don't like to take this. There's no incentive from our shareholders to take this.
Tune in to CNBC's Managing Asia every Thursday, 9:30 p.m. on Astro Awani.
Hi, thanks for tuning in. We're back on In Realty. Since Hari Raya or the festive season is coming very soon and very near, what app could it be than we giving you the heads up on what's happening on the shopping malls around you? Well, the most stable mall would be the Viva Home Mall, where you can find a one-stop center for your household and also your furnishing center. So, me today is Kenny Chin of Viva Home. Thank you so much, Kenny, for making the time.
Good afternoon.
Well, I feel like I'm in a kampung somewhere where the Malay call this a pumpkin. So we want to know how Viva Home celebrate Raya this year.
Well, this year Viva Home Shopping Mall celebrate Hari Raya in a showcase of Javanese culture.
Okay.
Yeah, we put our main setup in our center court with Javanese inspired and ambience. And besides having this main setup and deco in our center court and more wide, right? We also have like a series of Javanese cultural performances, including tarian kuda kepang, tarian jaipong, wayang kulit, and the harmonious gamelan performance, and a series of workshops.
And how long will this series of events last?
These events the celebrations start from 20th of July until 21st of August.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I remember that last year your theme was going Arabic, and this year you're going Javanese. Why is that?
Yeah, well, we did our research and we have surveyed, what other malls have been doing for Hari Raya. So from our research, right, we noticed that none of the malls have done this Javanese concept before. So we conceptualized from there and we look up the details, and that's it. Today we have we have these events coming.
Okay, and your inspiration derives from that research, yeah? And when a mall such as yours determine a theme for a festive season, putting Cahaya Agong Idul Fitri as an example, what would be the determining factor?
Well, we also want to do something new for our mall. No have done this before, so if we do something like Javanese, right? So I think you can stand up from the crowd. Yeah.
And then when we talk about festive season, obviously you have a target, in terms of expectation towards your traffic on shoppers. So what would be your expectation this year?
I think we are going to the second half of the year. Festive comings are coming. Festive seasons are coming. So Hari Raya is coming. So the shoppers, the buying mood, the shopping mood also improve. So we can see a lot of shoppers coming to our mall, for shoppings, to furnish their homes, especially the Hari Raya coming, and also to enjoy the performances and workshop that we prepared for the shoppers themselves.
Besides a series of great events like you mentioned earlier, can we expect also a great deal of sale happening to the home furnishing or decor in Viva Home?
We are still in the period of one Malaysia mega sales period. So most of our retailers, they are having sales and with great bargains and discounts. Besides that, shoppers who actually shop in our mall, they stand a chance to win great prizes that we have prepared for them. for example, if they spend 150 ringgit in maximum 2 races, they stand a chance to win holiday prizes to London, the grand prize. Especially also with Malaysia Airlines, the new Airbus A380. Yeah, and then also with other prizes like go to Istanbul, Bali, and other many prizes like home theater set, Apple iPad, Apple MacBook, and so on. And totally more than 100,000 ringgit.
So that is much more than I expected you would be or you would do. So talk to us about your main objective when you have this kind of promotions.
As at a quite relative new mall, so I think we need to maintain our momentum. So especially we need to do a lot of, we need to work double hard to do a lot, set up a lot of festive setup, you know, and also a lot of promotions, good deals. To popularize our shopping mall, so to encourage more people to come to our malls for shoppings and leisure, and also entertainment.
So what's next after Raya? What can we expect from Viva Home?
After Raya, after Mega Sales, the next coming up will be the Mooncake Festival. Hari Raya coming, and also then it's our Christmas celebration. Very fast.
So you have a lot in your pipeline, yeah?
Yes, we have. Normally we plan at least 6 months ahead, you know, for any festive promotions and events.
Alright, so before we bid adieu, what would your message be to your Malay or Muslim shoppers that come here to shop for their home decor, especially for Raya?
Yeah, on behalf of Viva Home Shopping Mall, we'd like to take this opportunity to wish all our Muslim friends Selamat Berpuasa and Selamat Hari Raya Aidilfitri in advance.
Okay, thank you so much, Kenny,
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Lina.
Well, there you go. If you are on the lookout for home decor this festive season, well, come on over to Viva Home. They have more than what you expect that they would be, or they have more events than you could ever imagine. So I see you again next week on In Realty.